What's going on, everyone? So, free agency is officially here. The Los Angeles Lakers can now start putting pen to paper, so to speak, start looking to try to round out this roster, go win an NBA championship, right? We got news that LeBron James is willing to take a pay cut so we can use our full MLE, as well as now potentially work out sign and trade. So it opens up a plethora of different options for the Lakers. A whole treasure chest just opened up, and it's shiny and glimmery, and it's like, oh man, what about this guy and that guy, and can we get these two guys, right? And there's a lot of big names that are out there that could potentially fill that sign and trade or that free agency spot via the MLE, which is the mid-level exception, right? Lakers would open up the full mid-level exception. But a couple things, right? First off, the Lakers have 14 guys on roster. So technically, they could use their MLE as soon as today, right? But I wouldn't expect it, right? There are very likely going to be steps. And these guys are very likely going to take their time to try to figure stuff out. More times than not, what usually happens is the role guys are the guys that get signed really quickly. And, everyone just kind of waits. Or it's the guys that are returning to their old team. But we already got that stage, right? We already had that stage. So free agency may be very slow. I'm not saying the Lakers won't do anything. I'm not saying don't get your, hey, we might not, while you're watching this video, we could end up getting news. I just think it's very unlikely that we start seeing a bunch of moves from the Lakers. Like, you look at last offseason, Lakers roster was basically done the first hour. Right? Like, as soon as they were eligible, it's like boom, 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 boom. And you got all these reports, Lakers signing everybody, and it was like, okay. And then the roster was basically set an hour into free agency. This year, I think it's going to be very drawn out. Because it's all going to start with one of these guys getting the MLE. Because from LeBron to the front office and moves that they want to make, everything hinges on who is coming via the MLE. And let's say Klay, for example. If Klay Thompson says today, I'm going to sign with you guys for the MLE, I think that, yes, everything will just, boom, you just start seeing the snowball. But I think he's going to take his time. He's supposed to talk to the Warriors, he's supposed to talk to the Magic, he's supposed to talk to the Sixers, he's supposed to talk to several teams. The Dallas Mavericks are another team that's really high on Klay and has been linked to Klay. And before the whole LeBron news, Dallas was supposed to be the front runner to sign Klay. So Klay's going to do his due diligence. He's going to go meet everybody. He's going to take his time really making his decision, most likely. I don't know. I'm not talking to Klay on the phone personally, but even like DeMar, whomever, right? So the Lakers are going to wait to see, because again, LeBron isn't going to do anything until he sees what we get. So Rob Pelinka still needs to be doing his due diligence. You still need to find out what's out there, what's available, right? Because regardless, you're going to have to kind of consolidate some of these pieces that you have and turn it into something. So maybe we get a small move or two, right? Could we get something where, I don't know, you take Cam Reddish and Jalen Hood-Schifino and, Jackson Hayes and go get, what is that? It's 8 to 10 million in cap space. So, and maybe clear some room, or, maybe you go get a Dorian Finney-Smith or something. And it's oh, whoa, that was cool, right? I'm not saying that, nothing will happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if nothing happens for a couple days. But I'm hoping that Rob Pelinka is kind of working, is on the phones, having these meetings, having these conversations, right? You should be talking to everybody. Talk to Klay. Talk to DeMar. Talk to James Harden. Talk to Paul George. Everybody. You need to at least do your due diligence. Yes, some guys are more realistic than others. Some guys are more likely than others. But you don't know until you ask, right? Your job is to make contact with every possibility and see what of value is out there. But Rob also is limited on what he can and cannot do until that first domino falls, because you don't want to go work out a move and then you get that wrapped up. Clay and all these other guys don't end up coming. And then LeBron goes, I'm going to take the full max. And then Rob's like, oh, but I got this deal done. And LeBron's like, I don't like that deal. Right. Or, oh, that's cool, but like, it's not good enough to make us contenders. So I might as well get paid or whatever. Right. Like, Rob kind of has his hands tied right now until one of these guys make the decision. But the good thing is, and what we've seen throughout the history of the league, is usually all teams and most free agents in general are all kind of waiting for that domino, right? So more likely than not, what'll happen is people are going to wait and see, like, what happens with the Sixers? Do the Sixers land Paul George, right? Because then that could impact other things. Because now other teams that maybe were interested in Paul George no longer interested in Paul George, so they're going to go look elsewhere. So then now maybe more teams throw their hat in for Clay, right? Like, or if Clay does, let's say he signs with Dallas instead of the Lakers. Okay, well now it's for something. So now maybe the Lakers go look here or there or whatever. But all these guys, like the high-end guys that the Lakers want to really make an impact for this roster, right? Like, all those guys are probably going to take their time. Like, DeMar DeRozan is probably going to take his time and kind of feel out, okay, what are my options here? What's the best place to go? Can I do this? Should I work out a sign and trade? Should I just take the MLE? Like, there's a lot. And the Lakers also have to figure out, like, okay, what path is the best, right? Like, okay, maybe DeMar does want to come, but what if Paul George does, right? It's like, okay, well, we'd rather have Paul George, but if Clay doesn't come, well, then maybe we could get both, right? Like, maybe we could get DeMar and Paul George and convince DeMar to take the MLE and then sign and trade for Paul George, right? Like, again, you don't know what possibilities there are until things start falling into place. So it's going to be very interesting. But also you want to, you have your head coach in JJ Redick, right? You also want to build a roster and team with pieces that make sense for him. That's why I like the idea of like a Klay Thompson, right? I know I'm using him a lot, but I think one, he's one of the more realistic players. And two, I also think that he's just a guy that makes sense and fits. And it's just an example, but he's a guy that I look at and go, okay, he fits with JJ beautifully, right? JJ Redick sees a guy like Clay and immediately has all these things of like what he can do, right? Like, and all, the pin downs and ADOs and all that stuff, right? Like, I mean, he was doing it when they drafted Connect, right? Imagine what he's thinking with Klay Thompson, right? So also Rob Pelinka himself also is evaluating, okay, which guys make sense for JJ. And JJ's probably in those rooms and in those conversations like, oh, I'd rather have him than him, right? But if we have no choice and he's the best option, then fine, go get him, right? But, because like I'm sure just for his offense and the way he looks at the game, he probably would prefer Clay over a DeMar. I'm sure he'd be thrilled and happy to have either because both are incredible players, but I'm sure JJ's looking at it as like, yeah, but Clay fits what I want to do more because of his ability to shoot the three ball and play off ball and blah, 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 right? Like, so to me, I think that you have to have the conversations with JJ. Rob Pelinka has to be doing his due diligence. The Lakers have a lot to do and figure out. And look, LeBron is doing a justice, right? It's great that he's willing to kind of come in and make these sacrifices, but in the same breath, it's like, he's only going to do it if it makes sense. So it's good that LeBron wants to do this and make this happen. So you need to capitalize on this opportunity. You need to validate him even wanting to make this decision, in my opinion. So you got to get this right. You do. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of bringing in, a Clay? Do you think that, who are the guys that you want to see sign? I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts on like who the Lakers should bring in, what should happen? What should be done? Do you think that free agency moves fast? Think it moves slow? I just think everyone's going to kind of wait around and it's going to be almost like, kind of like a game of chicken, like who blinks first. Boom, okay, and then all the dominoes will fall. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.